Hello, welcome to Lesson 8 of Speed Puzzling 101 Tips and Tricks. Quick speed puzzling lessons in under 10 minutes. Today's lesson is on deciding between two puzzles. This video is mainly for those attending the World Championships in less than 2 weeks, or for those who may be considering it in the future. As a disclaimer, there is no single correct way to do a puzzle or choose a puzzle. My advice may work for some and it may not work for others. My advice is to use as many different strategies as possible and see what works for you. Today I'll be looking at deciding between the choice of two different puzzles when you only need to complete one in a competition setting. This is due to the new rules that will take place at this year's World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships. In previous years at the World Championships, it was only the team's qualifying round where you had the option of choosing the puzzles you wanted to complete. You were given 4 puzzles and your team must complete 2 of them. This year, the rules have changed and will be expanding to the pairs and the individual qualifying rounds as well. For the individuals and the pairs, they will have 2 puzzles to choose from and must complete one of them within the time allowed. So for today, I will be providing some examples of puzzles that may be paired together for a variety of reasons. These are definitely not a secret hint into what Worlds has chosen. These are completely random guesses that I have selected, but there is some logic behind these choices. So whatever puzzles you may have in your collection, you can do something similar. You can go through the Ravensburger 2025 catalog or earlier catalogs and see what puzzles might be similar for a variety of reasons. This can include puzzles that have the same overall theme, like landscapes. It could be puzzles from the same artist like Amy Stewart has done multiple puzzles for Ravensburger. It could be general themes in terms of a lot of animals in one of them. It could be a whole variety of things. Or we might get to the World Championships and it's completely different puzzles that you have to choose from. There's no way of knowing, as this is the first year they're doing it, as I said, for the individuals and the pair rounds. The puzzles I've chosen for the majority of this video are from Ravensburger's 2025 catalog or from releases at other national championships around the world within the past few months. Is it likely they'll take newer puzzles? Who knows? The World Championships have a history of kind of mixing things up, so there's no way to fully predict when the puzzles were originally released. But my guess is that there will be at least a few from the most recent catalog. So as I go through these, I will ask you to make a choice in the video. Maybe pause the video, take a few seconds to try to decide, restart it, and I will provide information as to what I would take into consideration when looking at the choices between the two puzzles. One big one is using websites like myspeedpuzzling.com to see what the average first attempt is on these puzzles, especially since there is a high chance a puzzle you see at the World Championships or at any competition is potentially one that you've never seen before or you've never attempted before. So that first attempt will make a difference. If you have done the puzzle multiple times, you will have a better understanding of it, but try to look at it as though you have no information on the puzzle. First, we'll start with a classic 2 postcards. The London postcard versus New York postcard. Which of these do you think has the fastest first attempt on my speed puzzling? London is 1:11:08, while New York is 1:13:02. Based solely on that information, you may lean towards London, but you need to know what works best for you. When I look at this puzzle, London has more color overlap and repeating sections. The building certainly repeats. Meanwhile, New York has more empty white space, which could be tough to deal with. It also has more text than London. But looking at New York, to me, each section is more defined. Each color tends to have its own place. There's less gradients, while London appears more busy overall. If you haven't done either, these little details could matter. Second, precious porcelain puppies versus cubby cats and succulents. 2 very similar puzzles. For the puppies, the colors are brighter. If your event is later in the day and lighting is becoming an issue, this could be the way to go. Meanwhile, cats is much more organized. There are clearly 12 cubbies that can be arranged as you puzzle. A potential benefit to puppies is that you can work on a row-by-row basis, and the shelves are 2 clear blue lines. While the cats have brown lines, vertical and horizontal, essentially eliminating the option of putting those together early. Puppies is certainly a busier puzzle overall, with a lot of repeating colors, but cats have a lot more flowers to deal with, and we all know that many of us do hate flowers. Which is faster as a first attempt on my speed puzzling? Puppies comes in over 4 minutes faster than cats, with a time of 1:13:32 compared to 1:17:52. That is a huge difference in a speed puzzle competition. My time, though, was much faster for cats compared to puppies, so I would probably lean in that direction instead. On to buildings, because we know they will show up at some point. Would you prefer an evening in Paris or spend some time on the streets of Pisa? I've only done Paris, so I would probably lean away from Pisa, pun intended. Pisa has an average first attempt at 1:22:55, while Paris is 1:08:44. That is a 14-minute difference, which is astronomically large in a speed puzzle competition. But you do need to ask yourself if you can deal with the Paris sky and trees, as opposed to the very distinct sections of Pisa. I think the sky would throw some people off in Paris, but that leaning tower looks like a bigger challenge to me. Landscapes are not my favorite, and I really think we see at least one round where two go up against each other. These puzzles, Moraine Lake and Joffrey Lakes, are both from the Canadian 2025 National Individual Qualifiers. Moraine Lake has a first attempt average at 1:06:37, while Joffrey Lakes is slightly faster with a time of 1:03:51. I had to double check that result as I didn't believe it at all. But this is a perfect example of where people can see different things. The toughest part of Joffrey Lakes is the reflective sky splitting the white pieces. But the forest is the true killer. If you struggle with shape sorting, first, watch lesson 7 on this channel, and maybe this isn't the puzzle for you to choose. The trees are also dark, so the time of day can make an impact. However, Moraine Lake, while the image is brighter, has a lot more going on. If you can work through each section quickly and stay organized, this could be the one to pick. Shape sorting will still likely play a part with the mountains, but not as large as the trees in Joffrey Lake. This choice will come down to instinct more than anything. Go with it. Here is where things could get interesting. We don't know who makes the decisions for which puzzles are chosen and paired up. In some national competitions, and maybe a world round or two, the choices have been questionable at best. So what if someone who isn't into speed puzzling makes the choice and they decide to go simply for an artist match? Let's look at the pairs puzzles from the 2025 pairs qualifiers in Canada. You may be saying, but these were pairs puzzles, they won't show up in the individual rounds. That is absolutely incorrect. It has happened a number of times where pairs puzzles show up for individual qualifiers in championships and world rounds after they've been released elsewhere. These puzzles, while both wildly different, are by the same artist. Which is the fastest on first attempts? You may think it's obvious, and you'd be right. With a time of 1 hour and 50 seconds, Ocean Treasures is faster than Himalayan Harmony's 1:05:17. Honestly, I thought it would be a bigger gap. But looking at these, I can see where people might have a tough choice. Ocean Treasures is bright and stands out. The coral has clear sections and small projects to work on, while Himalayan Harmony is much more spread out. However, Ocean Treasures has a lot of water to deal with, and palm trees, one of the tougher puzzling trees, on two sides, and similar looking turtles within the water. When there are sections that are repeated, this can make things trickier. Meanwhile, Himalayan Harmony has a ton of fur along with plants, but if you are very organized and have a very good eye for detail, this might be the side to lean on. The leopards have different coloring, the main fox in the middle has a clear fur pattern. The plants, while there are a lot, are distinctly split up into their own sections. But this can be an overwhelming puzzle if fur is a struggle. This is where you need to know your strengths. My last detail analysis is from the Dalk series. These are relatively new, so they could make an appearance. They may not. One from this series has already shown up at a national event, so it is possible they make it to Worlds. So let's compare Archipelago with Boreal, Which is faster on a first attempt on my speed puzzling? I know which one I can certainly pronounce correctly. Archipelago has an average of 105.36, while Boreal clocks in at 105.41, a difference of just 5 seconds, which is negligible. So details are important. Let's call these whale and leopard to make it easier for me. Both are bright with a main animal to focus on. Both have a gradient sky with wispy clouds, although the whale's sky is not as split up as the leopard. Point to the whale. However, there is a lot more going on with the whale up top and at the bottom. So if randomness is not your strength, this may not be the way to go. Point to leopard. This is also a scenario where the image you like more is the one to go with. Does one make you smile a bit more? Maybe go there. I rarely suggest making a choice based off of motion, but this could be an argument in favor of that if you are truly split between the two images. If it were me, I would rather stare at the leopard longer than the whale. My examples here, as mentioned, are based on similar themes, artists, overall designs. Is that the way they're going to go at Worlds? Not necessarily. However, the strategies that you might take into consideration when choosing between two similar puzzles equally apply to two puzzles that are completely different. Know what your strengths are, make the decision as quickly as possible, and in some cases go with your gut. As a way to prepare for Worlds, you can just pick random puzzles off your shelf or have someone show puzzles to you and make a decision which one would be right for you. You do what I do and look up on myspeedpuzzling.com and see which times are faster. How many times have these puzzles been done by others? That can be a factor as well. If it's a puzzle that's been out for a while and been done hundreds of times and you've not done it once, maybe you pick the puzzle that's been done less. It's going to be up to you. At the end of this lesson, for those of you looking for extra credit, I've provided some more puzzle examples for you to compare. I will provide you with 5 seconds to make your choice between which one you might choose in a competition setting. I'll also reveal what the average first attempt time was. Does it match what you chose? If it doesn't, are you okay with that? It's completely fine if that's the way you go. That is it for lesson 8 of speed puzzling tips and tricks. If you are attending Worlds, good luck, and perhaps I will see you there. If you enjoyed the video, please click like, leave a comment if you have questions or suggestions for future videos or on this video, and make sure to click subscribe so you stay up to date with all the content from this channel. I will see you next week for another lesson. Keep practicing, and as always, happy puzzling. Bye. Oh, you're still here. Love the students looking for extra credit. The remainder of this video will be providing you with more choices between two puzzles, or more in some cases. You'll have 5 seconds to decide which one is for you. As I mentioned, I will then show you the average first attempt time for each of these puzzles according to myspeedpuzzling.com. These puzzles are also not just from the 2025 catalog. They do go back earlier than that, as we have no idea when the puzzles will be initially released for the qualifying rounds. Some can be older, not necessarily the brand new ones. So, have fun and good luck.